Okay, so to begin with, this is the Riff A variation on page 3. Played at full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then slightly slower with just the picking hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the fretting hand. 2, 3, 4. So concentrate on what your picking hand's doing. Make sure that for the first bar you're only picking downwards. That's because you're going towards the ground. This is a type of picking called economy picking, where you're economical with the direction that you pick. So if you're going towards the ground, your pick needs to move downwards. If you're going towards the ceiling, your pick moves upwards. So when you're picking down and up the strings, you end up getting this sort of sweeping motion of going across. So for your first bar, you're only going to pick down. So there's 2 down picks at the end because they're both on the same string. And down is the easiest way to attack those strings. So that's the best way that you're going to play this, because that's how we're used to picking on the guitar, downwards. And then for the second bar, look at the right hand again. Here's where you do the economy picking or the sweep picking. So you pick down when you're going towards the ground. That last note on the E, remember, is when you put your little finger on the top string. And then you start to come back up. So we do 4 down picks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 up picks, 1, 2, 3, 4. String it all together without any gaps. It sounds like this: 3, 4. And make sure that with your pick, you angle it like you do when you're strumming as well. So when you're going towards the ground, your pick should be pointing upwards slightly. And then when you're going towards the ceiling, you need to twist your wrist a little bit so that your pick's pointing towards the ground. So your pick is always pointing in the opposite direction to what it's moving. And that just makes it easier to drag it across the strings. Dragging it across the strings is what we should really be doing when we're playing in this economy picking motion like that. If we were picking every note down and up, we wouldn't want it to leave the strings. Always be moving like that. So with your fretting hand, it's a bit easier than the actual version of the riff that they play on the song, which is on page 1. All your little finger is doing is it's dropping onto the 3rd fret E string, so that you go between a D chord and a D sus4 chord, which is a D chord with your little finger on the 3rd fret. So listen to the song, then this recording, try and spot when the finger goes on, back off. Now, if you want to have a go at the version of the riff that's played on the song that's on page 1, the only difference is that we're hammering on that little finger note. The picking is exactly the same, so it's a really good way to practice this riff is by starting with the easier one. This is the Riff A, which is on page 1, the harder version. 1, 2, 3, 4. The only difference here is, like I said, when you pick that E string, you're gonna hammer on the little finger, hit it onto the string quickly, like that. Okay, so for your verse, we're playing a similar picking pattern but on an A chord. It sounds like this. This is your full verse. 2, 3, 4. into your pre-chorus there. So the different part here is on your A chord. That's where we're picking down, 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 up, up. And then you go back into your normal riff A. If you've played riff A, the easier version on page 3, that's going to be just like normal. If you've done the slightly harder version on page 1, it's going to be. So you do that twice, and then on a second time, you only play half of riff A, and that's when we go into the pre-chorus. So this is the last bar of the verse. We're on a D chord. We just go down, up, down. And then we've got to play our bar chords. So you're starting on an A chord at your 5th fret, A major, down to your 3rd fret for G major. So make sure you don't hesitate when you're doing this chord change, D, A, G. Keep strumming. And you should be trying to do those 2 bar chords, A, G, with an up, up. The rhythm sounds like this. Try it with muted strings like this. A, G, D, 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 A, G. That'll just help you get those up strums to feel natural. Okay, and then in your pre-chorus, you're staying on your G chord. I'm going to start the pre-chorus from the A, G at the end of the verse, just so you can hear how it leads in. It goes like this. 3, 4. Okay, so you're doing an up strum, letting it ring. And then it's going to be, let's see, 4, 5 down strums, and then a down up. So up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down up. Up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down up. Carrying on to your chorus, it's the same up strum, but now you're adding in 2 extra chords, a D chord, and immediately after you put a down strum in. So this ends up being 6 down strums now instead of 5, and then down up. Like this. 3, 4. Oh, I'll try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. Back to riff. So, for your chorus then, you've got 4 chords. D, it's your major E shape, your 10th fret. B minor, that's your minor E shape, with no, so that's no second finger, at your 7th fret. And then you've got your G chord again. So there's only 3 chords actually, we don't go back up to the A. So make sure that you've got the bottom 4 strings of each chord ringing. Ideally, all 6 strings should eventually be ringing with these chords, but if you have 4 strings ringing, E, A, D, G, that will work for the song really well. So make sure that you count how many strums you're doing. You've got an up strum on D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 6 down strums. Then a down up at the end. Don't count the down of the down up with the 6 because they're a bit longer. Same on B minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down up. So then your final chorus, chorus 4, it's the same chords that you normally play in your chorus, but you've got a quiet performance now. The little P on the tab stands for piano, which means play softly or quietly. So you put your D chord on, palm mute with your right hand, and you're going to strum 4, 8, 12, 14 times. So if you count to, 12, and then add on 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, then B minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that was a normal chorus added on at the end. You can hear that for the first part, for every chord change, you're adding in an extra little strum, like we did with an up strum before. Like that. And then at the end, when you go back up to A this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back into your chorus. Like that. So the A chord at the end is a little bit different. There's also a little fill on the G chord, which is a G sus4 chord. Now to perform this one, you need to get your third finger and roll it over so that you're barring the E, A and D strings. So you see you're actually pressing down 3, 5, 5, 5. Try and keep your second finger pressed down so that when you take that third finger off again, you've got that note there ringing already.